gap analysis with all the new members of our company. This gap analysis was for Red Lion. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Red Lion has purchased a company called Vantage. Vantage Hospitality has 1,200 hotels. So we've got a Red Lion, which has about 100 hotels, is now going to be a 1,300 hotel company because of its acquisition. Talk about a mouse biting the elephant. This is a very small brand situated just in the Pacific Northwest. So how does a company like this understand how to embrace and bring the brand Vantage Hotels into their digital model, into their digital sphere? So my point is that Akshay helped assemble a whole gap analysis, which included many newcomers to our company, to look specifically, what is Red Lion and Vantage doing in mobile marketing? What is Red Lion and Vantage doing in the different types of functionalities? What is Red Lion and Vantage doing in social channel? What is Red Lion and Vantage doing in SEO and SEM and in display and in remarketing and retargeting and so on and so forth? So there's so much that breaks out the digital channel. Okay, so that's, again, talking a lot about the strategy side. Then there's the technology side, and then there's the digital marketing side. Our company, 60% of our revenue is through the technology. So a website is, at the end of the day, technology. It's code, it's applications, it's programming and development, it's marketing modules, and it all resides in the cloud, in the hosting environment. I think it's very important that everyone in this room understands how a website is made. So let me just quickly run down. And this is exactly the same lecture I gave to the Luzon students. A website is in essence 3 layers. It's the front end look and feel, the prettiness of the website, the look and feel, the design, the experience that you get from the website. Then every time you hit a button, it does what it's supposed to do. So there's a programming and development piece. So imagine the following. You look at a photo. The photo is very flat. Every element in that photo has to be cut and then connected to a back-end system. It's called a content management system, the 3rd layer. So every element is what's called developed. So it's very important. When you look at a website and you push a button, it's not doing what it's doing, it's because someone didn't develop it properly, or it's broken. It's broken, it's not designed properly for the browser user, or whatever the case may be. Or it's not, they didn't do it right on mobile. Happens all the time. So there's the look and feel, there's the development and the programming, and then there's what's called the content management system, the CMS. And that's the bedrock of where all the content resides. So when you push a button and it opens up a new page of content, that's all being pulled from the CMS. Those are the 3 core pieces of a website. I think a lot of people don't fully understand or appreciate that because, why don't I have my website tomorrow? What's the big deal? Just make it for me. It's actually a rather involved process. And then that code resides in a hosting environment. So when a website gets hacked, or gets spammed, or it's slow, or it seems broken, or you come up with a dead link, it's because there's something going on in the hosting environment that's not managing it properly. So the hosting environment, where all that code resides, is also equally important. So you can call that the 4th layer. And then the 5th layer, and I sometimes describe it as the wrapping paper to the box, is your analytics. Who are my customers that are coming to my website? What pages are they looking at? Where are they buying? What products are they buying? Why when people go to the website and they put in the dates, is there no availability? And how often does that happen? These are true critical business decisions that you would want to know. So what I'm describing here is the technology category of our company. We've all shopped on Amazon. How often when you shop on Amazon and you leave Amazon, but you've left some things in the shopping cart, you get an email that says, hey, why don't you come on back and finish your purchase? So we do that for hotels. You start the reservation process, you abandon the reservation process, we can give the hotel another bite of the apple with some of our applications. It's all technology. It's a blending of technology and marketing because you need to have a marketing mindset to solve the problem. You have an abandonment, high abandonment rate. Well, what could we do creatively and cleverly to solve this problem? Well, why don't we install a reservation abandonment application to help give hotels another bite at that apple when they abandon the booking process? And why do people abandon the booking process? We know that they're shopping around. The phone call rings. Maybe you got a kid who's nagging you, and you got to stop what you're doing. It's very, real life instances will take you away from that opportunity. But you as a hotelier, your business means so much to us. Okay, so that's the technology, and then last is the digital marketing. So I feel like the digital marketing is probably the category you guys are most familiar with. Email strategies, paid search strategies, SEO, SEM, display, intent marketing, and so on. Is that a yes? Nodding yes? So let me share with you, though, again, an example of blending of strategy, technology, and marketing. There's something called programmatic advertising. Programmatic advertising is really a next generation type of marketing. So this is happening right now, and it's happening to you, and you don't even know it. Let me give you some insight. Let's see a second. So you're in New York City, and you're with your friend, and you're talking about taking a trip. And where do you want to go? You're in the dream stage. So you start the planning. Now you're in the planning process. So you're on Delta Airlines, and you're looking to go to, say, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Beautiful place. Great weather. You've got time off. You can take advantage of it. You're about 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. You haven't looked at your hotel yet. You're just looking for flights and rates and all that. So you're on Delta. You put in LaGuardia, JFK, Santa Fe. I think you have to fly an hour. And then what happens is, within 60 milliseconds of your search on Expedia or Delta or American Airlines or JetBlue or any of those, your action has been recorded. And that information is captured. And you could, when you go to CNN or check your email or go anywhere on the web, start seeing advertising, not just for the airline, but maybe even the hotel, a hotel. And it could say, coming to Santa Fe from December 1st to September 10th, stay with us. And it could actually go a step further and say, and here are the rates. Not rates from, not rates to, but $99 a night, queen suite, queen room hotel. That's how accurate we can be now on the web. We can capture your information through cookies. The airlines do. They sell it to third parties. We buy it, and then we take that information and we market to you through direct channels. And not only that, but we can embed in the advertisement a real-time rate. So we're not even pushing a room that's not available or dates that are not available, but we're pushing the rate and availability specifically to your search. So as a hotelier, and I've got a limited budget, it doesn't do me any good by advertising to the entire world, because I'll burn out my entire budget within 60 milliseconds. But if you say, I want first class flyers with Delta loyalty, buying on American Express, traveling to Albuquerque from New York on December 1st to September 10th, I want that customer. And you today can do that. And we do that for customers. So the question is, how do you compete against the OTAs? How do you get in front of customers? It's through these types of tactics. Let me share with you another example, then we can move on. Here's an example of technology with blending of marketing. So that was the programmatic advertising is an example of strategy, technology, and marketing all blend together. My theory is that all of you, let's say you're undergraduates. You're all graduates, right? All graduates, okay. So say you're undergraduates. You're going to be here for 4 years. And maybe your mom or your dad are going to come visit maybe once a semester. Maybe you'll have a cousin who'll come visit you once. So my point is that over the span of your 4 years here, or if you're lucky, maybe 5 years, you're here. And then your parents have to stay somewhere, or your family has to stay somewhere. Why are the hotels around here trying to build loyalty or recognition so that, Akshay's parents are coming here once a semester for the next, the lifetime value of this student means a lot of money for me. So why can't I make a little bit of an effort to recognize and build a direct relationship with that customer? So it doesn't take a lot of money or effort to build a recognition program in the digital channel. So that if I end up selling to you, and I know a little bit about you as the hotelier, know a little bit about you, the customer, then I should own you for the lifetime of your child who's attending NYU. Think about it, right? I mean, when I was in college, I think my parents came, a couple of friends came, some stayed with me, so that wouldn't apply. But family members came over the next 4 years. That local hotel didn't treat them any differently than if you were just a first-time customer. And if you're not going to do that, then why not just book through Expedia? Or just see what else is available, or go to a competitor. So we're building technology now that will help the hotelier recognize and reward customers who book direct, especially on a frequent basis. So that hotel, the Washington Square Park Hotel, which is right around here, can have the capability of rewarding that customer so that you're going to come here for the next 4 years, stay, I don't know, in aggregate you'll spend about $3,000 to $4,000 a room night, $3,000 a room nights. Now multiply that times how many students are at this university? What is my demand now in dependency on the OTAs? Maybe 4%. I'll use the OTAs during when the school is out and there's no students here and there's no reason for parents to come. So you see, it's these kinds of tactics that can little by little start chipping away at your dependency on this much bigger unknown, which is, the indirect channel. Okay, so that's examples of, again, strategy, technology, the blending of strategy, technology, and marketing. How are we doing? 12:30. Okay. So a little bit more about us. We have. This is actually outdated. We have, starting December 1st, we're going to have an office in the UK. We have global ambitions. We're looking at Singapore, we're looking at Barcelona. We're looking to actually add more to California. So we have a pretty hectic growth plan for 2017 and beyond. Actually, how many employees at HeBS are NYU grads? Percentage-wise?
Like
15%? So we have about 115 colleagues, and I'd say about 20 of them, 20, 25 of them are from NYU. Well, we have a great relationship with NYU and consulting projects, of course, these opportunities, panel opportunities, and so on. And we're really looking to continue to find, strong people. Excuse me, people who have an interest and understanding and appreciation of what we're doing to consider our company. I know that there's always a need for smart people in our company. So let's put it this way, we would find a role for you if you expressed an interest in what we're doing. Okay. Everything we do is in-house. I think this is a very important, but maybe sometimes an underappreciated or undervalued concept. But when you rely on third parties or outside people to build or provide products or services that you then have to repackage, you're demonstrating a bit of vulnerability. So as a technology company, we do everything in-house. We don't outsource to other parts of the world. Everything we do is within our control, within our domain, within our methodology. And we take pride in that. We actually use it from a sales standpoint because you, the hotelier, you need a website, and within this budget, we can guarantee you that we will deliver the website or the technology that you're looking for within the time frame and within the budget that we had agreed upon. It seems like that should be standard practice. Once you get out there in the world, unfortunately, the world doesn't work in such a idealistic or fluid way. I think we learned that this past week. Our company is made up of, let's see here, so we've got many people from the hospitality industry. Many of them have master's degrees in hospitality. I think we've got about 15. They also come from major brands and hotel companies. So just to show you, if I could highlight some NYU grads. NYU grad, NYU, yeah, Boston Cornell. Yeah, that's a little snapshot of who we are as a company. We got UNLV, Hospitality School, I believe GW, Hospitality Program. Yeah. Here's a snapshot of our client base. So you can see here that we bring these practices to restaurants, to DMOs and CVBs, casinos, resorts, hotel management companies, boutique and independent hotels, and major hotel brands. So we sometimes describe it as we can look at the industry from 3D perspective. We can look at it from the brand, from the owner, and from the franchisee. And as a consulting company, and if you join a consulting company of any kind, it's always this fractionalized environment that a consulting company can thrive in. If everything's uniform, and everything's done the same way, it's hard to get in there and fix things or improve things, or do things that are custom and within the brand of the property. So for example, like, I don't know, like dentistry. Dentistry is a very sort of static business. It's not really consulting in the dental industry or the medical industry when it comes to delivering care. Maybe that's not the best example. But company, like industries like ours, it's very fractionalized, and you can see here, everyone has their own interests. There's an opportunity for us to provide specialized and capable services. I mentioned earlier that we're a Google partner, so you can see here quickly, we do joint strategy sessions, product development, beta testing. We have a dedicated team. Our entire company is AdWords certified. We run industry events. We ran this past October the Traveler's Mindset, the 4th annual Traveler's Mindset with Google. Some of you attended. Right? What else can I answer? Is there any questions at this point? I can continue on with showcasing who we are and what we're all about, but I think you have a good feel of our heritage, our purpose, what's going on in the marketplace, what's going on in the environmental aspects of the marketplace, the impact of supply and demand, impact of Airbnb. I gave you a case study of the Chicago Whitehall example, in terms of how it really means and how it affects an actual family that owns a hotel. And then I jumped in with a snapshot of our solutions and what we're offering. So at this point, I'm happy to shut this off and answer questions or create a dialogue in terms of like how we're managing growth and why we're looking at certain markets. In fact, I would invite, if you want, you're looking at the UK market, helping us break into the UK market, so I'd welcome if you want to add to that or describe some of the challenges that you see us facing. We can open it up. Yeah.
Maybe Jason, you could mention how do you as a company stay on top of all these trends? There's so much stuff happening out there, a lot of moving parts, and so what is it that HeBS does to make sure you guys are on the cutting edge?
Okay. The profile of our company is made up of functional departments. So, for example, an easy example is SEO, search engine optimization. When you go to Google and you type in a set of keywords or phrases, up comes the results. And there's paid listings and there's what's called organic listings. Organic listings are the free advertising. And there's something called the Google algorithm. I'm sure you've all heard of this famous enigma, the Google algorithm. Every year, Google updates the algorithm at least, I think, 500 times. If you were to look at the filings at the Trademark and Copyright Office in Washington, D.C., you'll see all the recent updates that Google's done. They don't give away the secret sauce, but they do reveal some things and some insight in terms of what Google's doing, what Google's thinking. For example, there was a time when there's a concept called incoming links. So a website would link to another website. So let's say you're a hotel website and you have all these websites that are linking to your website. Google would value that. They'd count all the incoming links and say, hey, that's a vote of confidence. There must be something of value that this hotel website is offering because it's getting so many links coming in that we're going to value that higher. That was part of the methodology in the algorithm. So So far, so good? Well, how can you trick that? You can trick that in many ways. You can just, you as a, if you're a marketer in your basement, you could say, hey, Mr. Hotel, I can give you 10,000 links overnight, incoming links. I'll just link all my fictitious URLs that I've purchased and link to you. There's many tricks of the trade. So Google's always trying to police and stay ahead of the trends. What that means is that it's up to us to stay on top of the trends and know what's going on and be able to communicate that to our clients. So that's an example of how SEO continues to evolve. We have a whole practice management team that's monitoring and managing and paying attention to those things and embodying that back into our business. So we have to be a very open, nimble, agile learning organization. We have to be willing to accept the fact that the internet is not a static brochure, but the internet is a increasingly evolving channel. Let me share with you another example. So the Lausanne School said, hey, we want you to develop some content that will be durable. And I said, what do you mean by durable? He says, well, we want to be able to show it for the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm just like, if this is 2003 and you ask me this question, then there would be no social media, there'd be no mobile marketing, there'd be Yahoo. We were talking about how Yahoo is the #1 search engine. We were talking about a completely different scenario. So how is it that I can stand here and confidently say that what we talked about today will have relevance tomorrow or a year from now or 2 years from now? So having anything durable in our business is kind of like already old news. Right? Whatever we're doing today is potentially at risk to be changed tomorrow. Business models change. There are new business practices. The evolution of the internet continues to grow. There was a time when all our screens were almost like an 8.5 by 11. And then like overnight they all became, this shape. And then they became high res. And then they became retina. And then they became this. And then they became mobile. And then they became, the bigger mobile. Like what they call it, a tablet, phablet. So there's a crossover. So how do you stay on top of all that? How do you, as a company that's designing websites, be able to meet all these different things? There's no magic answer. You just have to be an organization that's willing to learn and open to just basically turning to all the resources available to continue to adapt and amend as necessary. And as a hotelier, you have to take that into consideration. It's not a one-time set it and forget it. Your revenue channel is an increasingly evolving, living and breathing organism. Yep.
Just one question. You mentioned about your companies can cover a lot of different level and different type of clients, but what is your main customer at the moment, and what's your targeting in the future?
Right. It's really a financial answer. I gave you the 3 pillars of excellence, and any company that can embrace all of that, meaning basically purchase aspects of all of that, you can basically enjoy more or get more benefit out of our methodology and our strategy. So to answer your question, companies like a Courtyard Inn or a Comfort Inn or a mid-scale or select service really wouldn't benefit from us. They wouldn't be able to embrace all the things that we're doing. Furthermore, because you're already a brand, you're already presenting some challenges because we can't do some of the marketing, it may be against brand standards, or we can't even track from an analytical standpoint the performance of the investments you're making because we can't put tracking on their central reservation system. So our hands are a bit tied with certain types of clients. So it's typically the independent, mid to higher end property that is best suited for us. That means someone with typically 75 rooms or more with an ADR of about $150 or more. Yeah.
You talk a lot about the marketing part of this as well as, SEO and everything else. Can you talk a little bit about attribution models, like how you figure out whether a particular marketing campaign was successful or not?
Why are you smiling?
Oh no, this is timely.
Yeah, there's a whole presentation, I think you drawing from an older, another class that I had given a case on analytics. So attribution modeling means basically how you're attributing the marketing that you're doing to the revenue that you're generating. So you want to attribute. So an email campaign, I get an email, and then I click and I book, then you can attribute the revenue generated to the email that I got, right? So that's attribution. So modeling is a more sophisticated term in sort of describing the entire funnel, where all this traffic is coming from, and then properly crediting through the funnel where people saw your ads and be able to say, okay, that advertising worked, I generated a return on ad spend of 3,000%. That helps me make a decision on where to spend next year. So we're very much what's called we're an Adobe shop. You're all familiar with a company called Adobe. There's also something called Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics. There's there are many different types of analytical tools out there in the marketplace. We're focused on Adobe because we feel that Adobe is the most customizable and most hotel marketer friendly. In other words, if you're a general manager, there are certain questions you want to ask that you simply can't get from Google. You can't get it because Google's a free application. Like most things that are free, you get what you pay for. So as an agency, we buy an analytical tool called Adobe, and at a very low cost, we can make it available to each of our customers. So every client of HeBS uses Adobe Analytics. They can log into their dashboard, their account, and there'll be a whole dashboard, and it'll show them basically everything that relates to their online channel. And included in that are all the marketing that the hotel is spending on. So any banner ads, all that programmatic advertising I described when you're traveling to Albuquerque, all the Gmail ads that you may see when you're opening up your Gmail account. And you're like, why is there an ad here about Santa Fe? Google was able to pick up that there was an email about my flight to Santa Fe. Well, that's interesting. It's probably a coincidence, right? I think not. So every marketing dollar, every dollar that you're spending, or even not spending, but just pure performance, people who are coming to your website purely organically, there's a system behind the scenes that's tracking that. And that's an analytical tool. So with proper tagging, you can track and measure the influence of all the marketing through an attribution model. So let me ask you the following. If I am a hotel and I send out email marketing, and I send out some banner advertising, and I'm on the social media, I'm on Facebook, there's a banner on Facebook, and all this activity going on my site. But when I look at the analytics, I really see something called Google paid advertising. And the Google paid advertising is where I click on it, and then I go directly to the website, and I make a booking. There's a tracking there. So if I'm looking at the funnel, and I see this final point, this point is where people are booking from. The question is, should I then just do my advertising around this point and ignore the rest of the funnel? And that's what's called last click attribution. So the last click is what led me to make my booking. And that, in essence, is the wrong way of looking at your marketing. Because it could have been that email, it could have been that banner, it could have been that programmatic advertising, it could have been that incoming link, it could have been that referral site, it could have been that content that I read somewhere else where there was some need of advertising that influenced me. But it was that last moment when I typed in the Whitehall Hotel in Chicago, I saw the ad because I didn't know, is it thewhitehallhotel.com, is it whitehallhotel.com, is it whitehall.com? I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to Google it. I see the ad, I click on it, and now I go to the hotel website. And it's wrong to think that the last click deserves 100% of your marketing, or should be the hero of your marketing strategy. So last click attribution is not the way to go. So to answer your question, what you're probably thinking is, then how do you do that? How do you measure it then? And in essence, what you do is you look at the entire path that the customer may have taken, and then percentage-wise break out how much each one should be credited, and that better reflects the contribution that they made to influence the customer to then make a booking on your website. So it could have been that email that brought me back to the website a month ago, that then cookied me, so then when I went to CNN 2 weeks ago and I saw the banner of that hotel, and I may have ignored it, and then I went to an article about the weather in Chicago and I saw another banner for, things going on, including staying at the hotel. I ignored that, but I remember it, the Whitehall, I keep seeing this ad. And then I do a Google search and I go to the hotel website and then I finally make a booking. But it was that email that actually influenced me to convert me into an actual customer. Yet the email was at the top of the funnel. Why should I really pay attention to that? These are questions that an analytics person or a consultant would ask and evaluate as building your attribution model. And the significance, obviously, is then when you next year talk about building your budget. So September, October is rolling around. You got to go through this rigmarole again of building your marketing plan, your plan for next year, and submit it for approval. You can now think about, okay, I want to spend, I'm asking for $100,000 and I want 20% of it to go to email marketing because the attribution model is telling me a different story than what we assumed. Good answer? Yeah. But why don't we, it's almost 1 o'clock. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I was going to ask maybe some of the students want to describe a little bit about the perspective of opening a company like us in the UK, but I could also leave it because you have a whole presentation on that class.
Well, we've been updating them weekly.
You've been updating, okay, so good. So you
This
know.
could be their work. This could be their weekly report.
Okay, good. So with that said, if there's nothing else, then
Let me ask you one other question,
Sure.
Jason. So we spent a lot of time talking about Drucker and Collins Good to Great, and you're in an organization that's growing. You just talked about your aspirations. So as you sit there in your position of where you want to be 5 years from now as a company, like what is it that makes you like sure that you're going in the right direction, or makes you worried? Do you have everything you need to get to where you want to be? How do you figure that out for someone in your position when you want to be a great company? You already are a great company that wants to expand.
No, it's a great question. Akshay and I were talking about this heavily yesterday because it's a very real question that we're facing. I'll answer it in 2 ways. One is having the right people, having people, and the second is having data, important data and metrics. So Akshay, one of Akshay's major roles at our company is he's in essence a Salesforce manager, and he's helping really pioneer some important tools to help us measure and track the performance of the sales that are going on at our company. We've got a global team now, so trying to make sure that they have the right information to make the right decisions locally where they are, measuring that, but then also marrying that information to a marketing application. So the marketing application is a product called Pardot. And Pardot is in essence talking to Salesforce and saying, these are potential valuable customers. People who have inquired about your services can be rated in a score. And then the question is, are we going after the high value customers? It's a very high level, and I invite Akshay to come up here and talk further about that, because I think there's a whole strategic approach to it that I think you could certainly illustrate for everyone what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would say on that subject. I mean,
In front of the computer.
I think that now it's an interesting time in the industry because you see a lot of young tech companies coming onto the scene that are trying to grow quickly. They're backed by VC capital, things like that. So growth strategies for any company is of serious concern now. And so I think part of that is, how do we scale our business? How do we standardize certain products and systems and processes and features? But how do we also retain the flexibility that has allowed us to be this dynamic sort of company and team? And I think that for a lot of organizations, that's a challenge. But essentially, in our case, you have Marriott's and Starwood's and the opportunity to merge companies of this size because you have standardized systems and structures in place, right? So now as we bring on someone to oversee our UK market, to oversee our Asian market, we also want to make sure that everyone's sort of on the same page in terms of that growth vehicle. So part of what I get to do, which is actually really exciting and is a lot of fun, for me is essentially figuring out how do we, say, leverage various collaborative tools, or how do we work together more functionally as a team in order to close more business, right? Because the nature of our business is also such that it's it's consultative selling. So we're really selling our knowledge, we're selling our expertise, and that really should necessitate our team being, let's say either face-to-face or in direct communication with our prospective clients. And so a large part of what I'm trying to do is like automate a lot of the way that we capture data, the way that we manage it, basically help our marketing team who spends significant amount of time and money and resources to execute various marketing campaigns for our companies. So make sure that we're understanding what leads and ultimately contracts are being generated by those campaigns, so that we can obviously thank them for their efforts and have some sort of quantifiable number to relate to that. But I think it's definitely a mindset that you should maybe bring to whatever organization that you become a part of, because now the way the world is going, we're very much a global company, and even if it's 5 p.m. on a Monday, for us here, it's 8 a.m. or something like that for our colleague who's in New Zealand. But at the same time, we all, despite location or time zone or whatever, we all need to be on the same page all the time. So that sort of mentality is something that I think will benefit you, maybe bringing that to whatever organization you go to. Because really wherever you go, you want to be able to have access to that content.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Salesforce is a very popular platform that a lot of companies with a sales force uses. And it's, in many respects, there's a whole derivative of companies that have built tools off of Salesforce. So the Pardot example provides this data automation to market people. Identify you, we can send you more information. It's almost like a drip campaign. The term drip, 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 drip. So there's this constant flow of communications that can send back to customers. We saw that you visit our website. Thank you. Hey, you got some new product. Check it out. Would you like to join our webinar? It's invite only. Little tactics can make all the difference to corral a customer. And to the gentleman in New Zealand, he's facing a very challenging situation. First of all, he's in New Zealand, and kind of like Canada of the United States. So he doesn't get the sort of attention or respect that he deserves. Second, many of the opportunities are actually in Singapore and in Indonesia and Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam. So where he specifically sits still is a challenge for him. And then lastly, we're a newcomer to that space. So who are you? Never even heard of you. You guys have been around for 15 years. Well, I don't know anything about you. So it's very hard to break into it, but it's these kinds of tactics that can say, okay, the guy called me last week. Now I see an ad, or I see a message, or they've got an article that's been published in a local newspaper, or we do a lot of content creation. But it takes a slow and strategic pathway to get some of that up.
Yeah, actually, just on that note, I was at an event earlier and somebody told me that, HeBS Digital, I went to your site once and now I see it everywhere I go. And so that's an example of us cooking them and basically, sending them that message over and over again.
And there are cases where clients will call us and say, and I'll ask them, how did you hear about us? Oh, well, I don't know, I think I read an article, I read it, but boy, everywhere I go now, you're everywhere. And that was done strategically.
And I think another interesting thing to note was last year we were speaking with a small hotel group in Africa, and this was just after we had set up some of this tools and technology. And this lady, I don't know if you remember, she was just saying like, oh, I've been following your stuff for like the last 8 years, but it was only until we started sort of tracking all of these things that we get to understand, okay, that kind of engagement with our consumer base or with our guests and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting. It also speaks to the fact that we're very much a consulting, like educational sort of company.
Yeah. And if you're a hotelier and you're trying to sell to customers and they're experiencing firsthand how you're following me and you're hitting me, then boy, I want to take that tactic and do it to my customers so I can get them to buy direct.
Any other questions? If not, how about a round of applause for these guys? Thank you very much. I'll give you guys a 5-minute break. You can say a few words to these guys if you want to give me your resume, whatever you want to do, and we'll move from there.
Well, I did leave some business cards up here. Welcome to